Howdy.
Hello. Hi, David.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy.
Hello.
Hey, David. Haven't seen you in a while.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Good.
I think I'll be at the water slides today.
Hi, Bruce.
Bruce. Bruce, you're muted.
I don't think Helen's on for a while this week. I don't know if it'll still work. Yeah.
For some reason, Bruce, I can't turn your mute off. Can you unmute from your end?
How's that?
There you go. That's better.
Is there an echo for me?
Not that I hear.
Okay, I had one on a meeting earlier today, so I don't know what's going on, so.
It's a little echoey.
Is it? I gotta get my IT guy. I think my laptop might be on. I don't know. Maybe I can turn the volume down. Not sure I know how to.
Travis, the weather looks great where you're at.
It is beautiful.
You know, everybody's getting this long hair, COVID haircuts. I got mine right down to the quick.
I'm about ready to get the same, Bruce. I can't stand it.
Feels pretty good.
Eric just puts on a hat.
Mine was
I
getting
live for this moment. I've been cutting my own hair for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So it's just like a regular Sunday for me.
Mine was getting so long, I wanted to take drugs, so I had to do something.
Oh, that's good.
I'm starting to
That's
get-
good, Bruce.
I'm starting to get wings on my hair.
Yeah, you are, Eric. Wow.
Eric, are you running for the commission, the PUD thing?
I'm mulling it over.
Well-
I'll say that much.
Mole. We want you.
Okay, well, it's 6 o'clock. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Our first question on the agenda was, should we cancel the September 25th, 2020 auction? And there has been, I've gotten some replies, people that would hope that we'd still be able to pull it off, but a decision has been pretty much made to cancel it. And for the sake of ease of planning in the future, I think we should just cancel it and forget it. Is there a major disagreement with me? Very good. Should we plan an auction on May 7th, 2021? And the response to that is generally yes, although Chris Johnston put in a statement that given the unpredictable nature of this, we may even need to cancel that one. And from that, I'm going to say, yes, let's plan for a May 7th, 2021 auction.
Yeah.
Okay. should we schedule an online auction this summer or fall?
Hey, Tim, you're not coming in perfectly great. Is there a way that you can speak more clearly into the microphone or something?
Maybe turn it up.
Is this better?
Yes.
That's better?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just try to get closer to this dumb thing. Should we schedule an online auction again? Different replies have said yes and no, but the point is we do need money. There's no question about that. We're going to have to raise it somehow to live up to our obligations. So I think that in general, the feeling is yes, let's go ahead and do one. And Mike Mosier, this is really heavily going to affect your presidency. I don't think we could really pull this off well by sometime in June. I would shoot for the end of July or sometime in August, preferably probably sometime in the middle of July. Any questions on that or disagreements?
No, not at all. There's no way we're going to get it done by the end of June. I was thinking end of July, first part of August too. So you're right on track.
Hey,
All right.
hey, Tim.
Yeah.
I know that in previous calls, we had a couple people say that they would be willing to buy a work party to get some work done around their place this summer. So absent actually doing a live auction, I'm wondering if that's maybe something we shouldn't just send out to Rotarians. I mean, obviously we'd have to be safe in how we do the work party, but there could be a couple, 2 or 3 people that would be willing to put up $1,000, $1,500 this summer.
More than that.
Yeah.
I'm making notes here. Okay. That,
Travis, Hawaii, really?
No, it's Belize.
Oh, Belize, that's even worse. It's hotter.
so we'll
I'm leaving.
that in mind, and that probably wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead if there are some work parties that we can get out earlier than late August. Well, I'm still going to shoot for that mid to late July date.
Oh, they're
Again,
talking
it
work
really
parties.
depends heavily on what Danny can do getting this thing put together. So we'll go with that mid to late July for right now. Then
I have a suggestion that we should just try and pick the date, the tentative date, while we're all sitting here checking our calendars.
Do we want to shoot for a Friday night?
Well, let me ask this. I mean, if we're going to do a online auction, is it necessarily going to be a one night kind of deal, or is it going to be over? I mean, Cascade Middle School, when they did their auction, it was over the course of, I think, 7 days or something like that. So I'm just throwing that out there.
And was it online? Was it an online
It was
auction?
an online auction.
Okay.
On the research I've done with this, which isn't a lot, but the recommendation is for silent auction items that you have the auction on for at least a week.
Okay.
And that even on live auction items, that when you have your day, this is auction day, you open up the live auction items online for bidding before you actually have the live event. And then the live event would be in the afternoon, but by that time, after the evening, and by that time, you've already got a few bids in to have a pretty good idea of what this is going to go for.
Is there any reason why you wouldn't put the live auction on the whole time for the whole week?
Because
I mean, is there a feeling we'll get more money by doing, I don't know, having an auctioneer actually do it online versus just leaving it out there and letting people bid on it for a week or whatever?
that I cannot answer.
Sort of like eBay.
Yes.
I perceive, or I believe, that perhaps we might do something that lasts 4 days and with an ending on either a Friday night or a Saturday night. and that we end it with an hour to 2 hour session of live auction. Question is do you want the live auction items that we're going to send, do you want to put them on the whole thing for 4 days and then have people bid on a live portion of the auction? If not, you're getting into the silent auctions, and I'm not sure what anybody's talking about as far as a silent auction goes. We have stuff like a tool that's worth $25. How many? And so are we gonna put that on there and try to put 100 silent auction items on there? That's a question. And then have your larger items for the live auction, or have them all on there together.
The information I have from the Stokes Auction Group, they've been helping people do this, and they are willing to help us. There's a fee involved. They feel that if the live portion of the auction should last 30 to 45 minutes, ideally. After that, people start dropping off very quickly and trying to shoot for an hour or more. They say you can go up to an hour, but more than an hour, you're wasting your time. People are not going to stay online that long. So they recommend that, for instance, when we have introductory comments from our presidents and president-elect, that they pre-record their statements, and they should last no more than 3 to 5 minutes, and that you play that on, and then you go right into the auction stuff and get going on it and try to get the whole thing done very quickly. I feel that offering more than 10 live auction items is probably a bad idea, that you just can't really keep people interested that long online.
Is there something that shows research-wise that would draw more money limiting access to this item for 1 hour than having it posted up for 4 days? It seems to me that if you only have it available for 1 hour, you're eliminating a large swath of people that would rather be online at their leisure, dinking around shopping, than being told you have to be on the auction 1 hour only, and if you don't make that work, then too bad for you. The glory of the internet is you can do stuff on your own time.
Right. It's like Jim mentioned on eBay, you could have all of them end at the same time, and you could have them end at 8 or 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night, and that would mean that the majority of the people would get on at that time to finish that bidding up. But Mike Mosier, did they do the History Club indicate, did they make about the same, less, more?
They made a little less.
Okay. And they left them on, and they left everything on all week.
All week long. They didn't have a live auction per se. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having the items on there for more than a day or anything like that. That's not a problem. But if you're trying to get some competitive bidding, then that's why you have the very short 1 hour live meeting.
Yep, but you could still have the things on for 5 days and they all end at that same time. You can still have that short competitive 1 hour, and that bidding happens a lot at the very end, just like it does on eBay.
Correct.
And you could also then, every day, we could send an email out to our entire group, or everybody that's watching or everybody that's signed up. You could send an email out to them every day about highlighting certain items and how much they are. And that would remind people every day to go on there and take a look or make a bid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything wrong with that. It sounds fine to me. I wouldn't want to be sending out emails every day for 2 weeks, but if we did this over a period of 4 days, yeah, that could work. Again, we're going to have to talk to Danny, who can't be here, but we're recording this, so she'll be able to watch it later. A lot of it depends on the program, and I don't understand this Zoom period. So you think if I'm going to program this, forget it. That's not going to happen. So we're going to have to rely on some of you others to do that.
Tim, I got a comment. I think 2 weeks is too long. Everybody's going to wait till the last 4 days anyway.
Yep, that's right.
Yep. I think if we put it on for 4 days, that'll be long enough, and then have that live 45 minutes to an hour. I think that'd be ideal.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds good. I think we'll just go ahead and accept that plan.
The other thing you could think about too is the silent, you could end the silent auction items a little bit earlier than that, so that the very last hour or whatever is all about bidding on the larger items. If that's something would work, I don't know.
I think it's a good idea.
You
Don't
definitely
distract the big stuff with the little stuff.
You definitely close the silent auction prior to the final live auction. That's
So they could close both on the same night. One could just close an hour earlier, an hour and a half, 2 hours earlier than the other ones.
correct.
That way then people would know if they're bidding on those things, what they got, what they didn't get, and then that could also determine what they're going to bid on the larger items, if that's what they're thinking about.
If you're doing the silent items, I think that you should go in and perhaps close that 10 minutes into your last hour program. So that way you attract the people online that are interested in silent for a short period of time. Maybe you hang on to them for the live auction, and then you've got the people that are interested in the live auction.
That makes sense to me. I'd like to have people tune in to find out what's up with the silent auction, and they'd like to know that prior to the live auction, and then go right into the live auction meeting. Okay, the next thing.
You could even, hey Tim, you could even, on the high priced items, you could even probably, and I have to ask Danny if you can, I would think that you could even time that to have them end every 5 minutes or something like that. Those last 12 items or 15 items, whatever, they could end every 5 minutes. And that way then people, when you're done with that, they're done, and then they move on to the next one if that's something they're interested in.
And they would use that moving forward. Everybody just
Might want to be every 3 minutes.
not everybody.
Yeah, that's fine.
But if there's some options,
As far as the items that we have online, we have these special things like the zip line, the Big Lake Barbecue. Those I think we'll certainly have that open prior to the live auction. And if we fill up our position, if we fill up all the seats for that prior to the auction, great, then that's over. Donations for scholarships, dictionaries, and whatever else we might want to do. Do we want to do that as part of the live auction, or should we just leave that part of the silent?
My feelings, that's kind of part of the silent item. It's just kind of raise a paddle type of deal. I think if we try to do it just in the live auction, you're going to lose some people that you might have gotten in the silent auction. You know, if somebody wants to come in and donate $25 towards scholarships or 100 or 1,000 or whatever, they may not want to be there for the live auction. I don't know. That's just my thought.
many times. You haven't said it. That's what we said.
Yeah, Mike, I like that idea. Just have it on there. Maybe you can have a continuous raise a hand or something icon on there, and where you just click and you do your 500 or 100 or $50, whatever it is, and you just click on it and it's automatic.
So maybe they're talking about
It would be nice if we had a running total on a scholarship, so we know that, you know, the goal is 40,000 and we're at 28,000, and do it for the 4 days so that we can, you know, we can call people or whatever we have to do to try to get to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of like the United Way thermometer idea.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Now, scholarships, dictionaries, what else would we want to do that for? I mean, just fund an item.
Playground.
Hey,
well,
let me interject real quick. Somebody has a bunch of talking in the background, and it's really hard to hear.
donate our,
Jim, is it you?
and if I get reimbursed, I get reimbursed. If I don't, we would.
Jim, oh yeah, there you go.
There it is. Yeah.
Jim, you got to leave your mute on.
I keep trying, but you keep muting me.
No, that's what I mean. You got to leave your mute on because we hear Sharon in the background.
Oh.
Better, you got to mute Sharon.
Okay, then silent auction. Travis, do you have feelings on that?
You know, I reached out to Rick. He was going to run over and take a look today, and he never got back to me. So I do not yet.
Do we want to try to have a big silent auction or not? I guess that's a group decision.
Well, my feelings on that, I mean, obviously everything we sell, we raise more money, and more money, the better. But the problem we run into is if you got 300 silent items, we got to figure out how to get 300 silent items to, possibly 300 different people. Kind of a logistics nightmare.
There are some logistic problems, and then just the whole. There's lots of things with that.
I don't think we should do more than 40 or 50 if that many.
And
maybe
you can imagine putting 300 items online be difficult to look through.
Yeah. And maybe we can take some stuff and bundle it up into bigger packages for the silent eye. Encourage people to get certificates, encourage people to get things that, I don't know, come up with a theme and have people donate it. A Traeger package, for instance, or something like that.
It would seem we could have quite a few certificates because that's just the name of a restaurant and there's the certificate. But trying to get pictures of silent auction items so people can see what we're talking about, that would make it pretty difficult. So I think Rich is right. We'll shoot for less than 50 live auction items and see if and I don't know if the program can handle either.
I think also we should consider that we get those silent auction items donated from local businesses, and local businesses may not be in the position they were in last year or the years before. So, I mean, I would want our reputation to be that respect and being respectful to local business owners and not just moseying in saying like, okay, I'm here for the same donation you make every year. I think we should plan for that and try to be as respectful as possible and not just have it be the thing that, I mean, when we have like 100 gift cards from local businesses or whatever, I don't know, I just think that's something to think about, and we're representing the Woolley Rotary Club and maybe off-putting to certain businesses to have that visit. So we need to think about how we approach businesses if we're going to be doing that.
Well, and as I said in that letter that I sent out, I don't know, a month or 2 months ago, whenever it was, when this all started, that I thought this was really going to be an auction that we had to step up and as Rotarians buy these things ourselves, and even suggested when we do go buy takeout that we buy a $25 gift certificate or whatever from that business just to support them. Because you're right, Mary, these businesses are not in a place where they're going to be able to donate stuff. And I don't think we personally ought to be asking them.
I think we need to be sensitive to their feelings and their financial situation. At the same time, there's no business that doesn't want people coming in, and gift certificates are a pretty darn good way to get people to go into a store or a restaurant. So this is pretty cheap advertising. Okay, live auction items. I sent out a list of suggestions from Rich. I don't know if you guys have all seen that, but he's got a list of 17 different ones, some real good ones there. And I think that's about right. I think we need to trim that down a little bit, unless some of them can be sold as silent auction items. Just thinking about it, a load of logs, that could certainly be a silent auction item. So anyway, any other input on live auction items?
Those are just ideas. I did not mean to suggest that we use all of those. Those were mainly for discussion purposes. You know, some of them take a little work. You know, if we, you know, in the past, we've had members, you know, members sign up to do a dinner a month.
Mhm.
You know, so we've got to find 12 people that will do that. The Super Bowl party, I've seen that. I was at one last year that it bought. And it was they had done a really good job. The Children's Museum provided all the food and stuff. You know, again, that would encompass, or we'd have to have a bunch of Rotary members saying, okay, I'll make, you know, whatever, chicken wings or, you know, whatever, and the club will have to buy some of the drinks and stuff, and we just, all you have to do is deliver it. But that could be a good money maker. So, you know, decorating a house at Christmas, that's a thing. We got to have members step up that want to put up lights and so on and so forth outside. So we need to think, before you consider those, you need to decide if you think you have the commitment to do that from the members.
I think I can send out messages to the membership with those kinds of work party options and see if we can get people to sign up for dinners for whatever it might be, and see who will volunteer and how many will volunteer, and then we can determine whether or not that's an item that we can really carry off. Any other suggestions?
Tim, in my response to you, I suggested that we minimize the amount of auction items and instead have the ability to donate to 4 different categories. And it doesn't have to be 4 and it doesn't have to be these 4, but they were scholarships, special projects, international, and one other. And it just seems to me like if we're going to get anywhere near 100,000 or more total, I don't think we're going to get there with an auction. I think we're going to get there through donations. And I, for one, am prepared to just write a check this year.
Well, that's certainly something we need to consider. It's not necessarily part of the auction, but it sure could be. And I guess there are different ways that we can put that on the auction block on the website at the same time with silent auction items. Here are different options for you to write a check to and just make a donation. We can have that going, and we could even on the final night suggest that, hey, you know, go ahead and put in some money on these if you can.
You know, the thing that I think you need to do though in that, scholarships is fine. People know what a scholarship is and they know where it's going. A special project, I'm not going to be very excited to say, well, I'm going to donate to a special project when I don't know what it is. Now, if we want to say it's going to, you know, Patrick's Park, or it's going to this, we're going to do this, I think that's more appealing. Same with international. If we could say that it is going to, you know, whatever your project you're working on that year, so people know what they're actually donating to. I think that that's something that needs to be done.
I think we could probably, I'm sure we can pull that off.
Well, and that's, you know, I talked to Tim and Rich and Mike and I don't know, Danny or somebody about getting together possibly next week and delineating that, you know, the special projects we want to complete next year, Patrick's playground, we want to continue with the remodel of the community center, the bathrooms, and whatever other projects we come up. And then we could have Carl and Teet come up with a list of international projects that we're working on and have those out there so that people would know exactly what it is.
And also, just what we're experiencing right here, you know, this would have been, this is our 48th annual auction. You know, we're the oldest auction in the Valley, and we're involved in a worldwide pandemic before our auction took place. I think combining all this stuff with what Carl said, you know, here's an opportunity to just write a check. You know, I think there will be people up for doing that. here's a check for the Sedro Rotary Club, who's done great things over the course of these past 48 years. People will realize that and do that, and then have the really cool auction items available, you know, whatever, you know, 10 to 20 auction items, and just a combination of all those things threaded together that will make this the best, you know, online auction in the county, you know. So just reaching out of the box and doing it to make it that way. And I think we can do that. I think combining all these things, we can do it that way. You know, writing the checks and donating for the auction items and make it work. And I think people will be in tune to that we include in our process.
I agree with you, David. And I think if we put a concerted effort into really finding a way to highlight all of our prior projects and the progress we're making on certain things in the community as we speak, and doing some sort, I'm not a videographer, please don't ask me to do this, but some sort of video or something to really put into people's faces with that music that makes you want to cry or whatever, and shows people this is what we're giving to this community on a regular basis. Look at these play fields, look at these happy people utilizing what Rotary gives to you. Well, I really do think that's a good place to spend some effort, and to just have the opportunity or option for people to just want to be a part of that. And try to make the focus not as much about stuff and more about community, and this has brought us together as a community, and let's move forward as a community, and giving your money so we can make your community better, and find a way to do that in some super heartfelt way. We need to find someone who's more heartfelt than me, though, please.
And then along that line too, with some of the donations for, let's say, the silent auction or some of the live items, really make a concerted effort as Rotarians to march up and down Main Street and go into all these local businesses that are suffering and buy a gift certificate, and then say, hey, you know, this is for the Rotary auction. I'm buying this year. We normally, you know, ask you for it, but I'm gonna spend, you know, money to support you, and then maybe they'll add another, you know, 25% or $25 on top of that. And like, I'm buying this to support you because you have supported us all these past 48 years. And I think that really needs to be the focus and the push for us to go out and to make this really, hey, we're supporting the community that has supported us all of these years.
I think it's a great idea, and I'd want to make sure all the club members know that's kind of the speech we want to be giving when we're asking for stuff or buy stuff.
I remembered the fourth item was the food bank.
Oh, yeah.
And
yes,
I think what we could do in addition to what Mary and David are talking about is divide up whatever areas we want to donate to, just accept straight donations, assign people to collect pictures and video clips or whatever, and then have a single person, maybe like Danny Russell, who's good at this, or someone she knows that is good at it, create little, maybe a 2-minute video clip using those pictures for each item that we want to fund, so that we have something to look at for the, and I would be happy to do the international.
It's just done between anyone has to get the period.
Somebody needs to turn their mute button on. Okay. Well, there is a question about should we get professional assistance in pulling off this auction, or should we just do it ourselves? I believe Stokes said they could help us out for somewhere in the area of $1,500. It could go higher depending on how complicated we wanted to get, but it might be useful to have some people on board that have done this before and can steer us away from some problems.
I agree.
Totally. I worked with, was involved in this Gadgets Got Talent thing that Sheena Burns's daughter won, and it went so smoothly. You know, Rebecca Murray produced it, and having her team behind the scenes really made it go so well. There were no glitches. It all went very well. I think that's $1,500 well spent.
I think we owe it to Stokes also. They've done an unbelievable job in the past for us, and I think that they'll do an unbelievable job in the future. And I think we'll get that money back tenfold by not making mistakes.
Yep.
Okay, I'll get to work on that, and they're going to be happy to help us out. Okay, next thing comes up, and this is really a big one with Bruce. I'm glad he's here, and that is the sponsors. I'm not going to steal a lot of Bruce's fire, but one option would be to contact all our sponsors and say, hey, do you want your money back? We'll be happy to refund your money because we're not having an auction this year. A second option would be, we are going to have an auction next May, and we'd like you to, an option would be to just move your sponsorship to our next May 2021 auction. And a third option would be to say, we'd love you to just donate that money to the club. We've got a lot of good things that we can do with it, and we'd be happy to accept your donation and then have a series of things that we would do to promote them. And Bruce has some of those ideas on the email I sent you guys from Club Runner. Ads in the paper, social media, try to do whatever we can. I was thinking about putting up banners in the community center when we have our meetings, if we ever have our meetings there again. And whatever else we can pull off to try to support those sponsors and thank them for what they're doing. Any other opinions? Or Bruce, would you like to say some more on that?
Well, I'll tell you this, people love to see their company or their name in the media. So it needs to be in, maybe it's a Skagit Valley Herald, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's all three, and maybe 3 or 4 attempts and a lot of people liking it, so it gets a lot of noise. And I'm not that guy, but I see it happening all the time, and I know that it's effective in today's world.
What if I don't know if this was brought up, but it could one of the options be that they are literally a sponsor of our online auction, and can Danny put, you know, names all over the software so that when people log in to look, they see the sponsors' names?
That is definitely doable. I've seen it pulled off, even with a split screen where half of it is just a running, continuous running of sponsors on one side, and on the other side are the silent auction items. So we can certainly look into that and see if we can't pull that off.
Well, that'd be my first option, because then we can get them for next year again, and it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. So maybe we hold off until you see if we can do that.
Yeah, because one thing I was going to bring up, Tim, later, but now I think is appropriate, and I know I talked to you about this before, that I really think part of our plan for an online auction should be pre-buzz, you know, social media efforts, and basically getting people warmed up for what an auction is. And that's all opportunity to share sponsor names and put their names out there.
That's a good idea. We can send a series of emails on that. I know Ruth is good with Facebook, another thing I've never used. So, you know, that kind of thing we can work with. And that's cheap. That doesn't cost us anything to promote them in that way.
Well, and that's all in the whole promotion. It's really amazing how many people you can reach if it's done effectively and properly, using social media, using Facebook. You know, like with Brian, you know, that was where everyone came to get their information, was on my Facebook page, and people all over the world knew about his story and his journey. And same with the Gurney Tourney, you know, the same thing, all driven by social media, and used effectively. we really can reach a lot of people. And to say, and here again, going back, Sedro Rotary Club, 48th auction, oldest in the valley. They're going online. They're zooming it. How cool is that? Get that buzz going. We're zooming the Sedro Rotary auction, and you can be a part of it. Yes, you can be a part of it, Mike Janicki. You can Zoom, and you can be there. And, you know, I think we can really make it a fun event, tapping into this new technology that we're using.
Real good.
One other thing that I was thinking that we could potentially do is if we can get some spaces, and Mike and Bruce here will see it all the time because we drive by it all the time, is the next to the fire hall. They've got people who have sponsored them. They've got banners that are placed. It's almost like a billboard. If we could find some place that was good going into Cedar Woolley or someplace else, put up banners so that everybody going by on the highway till next spring is going to see the people that are sponsoring the auction.
Yep.
On the billboard. So
Have to look into that possibility. There must be a way to pull that off.
We have that big jumbo screen now, you know, at Bingham Park. I'm not sure who runs that, but we could have that too if we could. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's a partnership between the school district and the city, so we'd have to look into that, make sure we do everything legally wise, but yeah.
Well, we'll give you $1, we'll rent it, and then we'll use it for a month.
There you go.
There you go.
I'll give the mayor $1 too.
Yeah.
Tim, it seems like if we could quickly pull together an alternative sponsor advertising package, that might help Bruce and the rest of the folks that have got sponsors save them for this year.
Okay. It makes a lot of sense.
And
Okay.
just for the record, we have close to $50,000 in sponsors, so it's worth putting some effort into it.
Definitely. If you guys could send me your ideas on how to promote this, send me an email with all those ideas, and then Mike, when we have that meeting next week, we can go over that and start working on that. And David, you're really good with this. I'll get you involved in this kind of stuff too.
Yeah, one thing that we could do is, I'm not sure how some of these other organizations do this, but you know, they have email lists, and they get our email, and we're blasted with email. Remember the Boys and Girls Club, or remember, you know, somehow we can get that out there and spread the word. That would go a long ways.
Hey, Bruce, one of the things, tell me if this would work with the groups you're working with as far as advertising goes. If there's a way that Danny can incorporate their logos into the items online, so that, because we're going to have hopefully a lot of people in these 4 days going in and bidding on these things, or at least looking at them. And then whenever they go in, they see these different ads along with the items. That might help promote them as well. So don't tell them we're not having a live auction. We're still going to have an auction, and these are the things we're going to do to help promote your business if you're willing to just keep that donation in place.
Good idea. And I think that goes with having it up on the screen during the live, but it can be up on the screen when you go in there ahead of time and bidding it up.
Yeah, we could intersperse the silent auction items with little ads constantly through this. As you scroll through there, you'd see the different sponsor names coming up.
Right.
Can I ask a question? We're having an auction that you can go on and look at these silent items for 3 days and 23 hours or whatever it is. And then we're going to have a live auction for 1 hour, but I'm having a hard time and I don't have a vision of what goes on during that hour.
Well, Rich, what you could do is the live auction items are also being bid on during those 3 days and 23 hours as well. So they'll have bids on them.
Right.
And then that last hour is that last push. And so we'd have to come up with some ideas, whether it be a Zoom meeting that we have some kind of promotions, we have something in that last hour while people are still online bidding, and we can be promoting it, we can be talking about, there's just some things that we could come up with to do during that time if we're gonna, for that live auction piece, whether we're gonna have promotional videos, heart-tugging videos, whatever it is.
You gotta have something to draw them there for that
Right.
last hour.
Right, we have to come up with that. Yeah,
And that's what, that could be some insight from the Stokes group, insight in what has worked in the past for these.
I wonder if we could get our host to do a Facebook Live during that.
That's what I was thinking of, Travis. Do a Facebook Live and
There
have
you
a
go.
host and get Mike and Mike up there and just promote it all right there.
Totally.
Stokes does have several ideas on that, and they were rattling through several different options, and it's just something that we have to work with them and figure out what we want to do. But yeah, you're right, Rich. They do have lots of ideas on how to pull off that final hour.
Well, just, for this talent show I was involved in, Kristen Keltz was the mistress of ceremonies, and we had the competitors, and then I was the head judge, and we seamlessly flowed through the day. Kristen would be on the screen, then the judges would talk, and then the entertainer would perform, then Kristen would come back on, and then the judging group would come on, and it was really a seamless flow. So people watching, they were watching the show, and they were going from one person to another. And this is with Rebecca and her assistant in the background doing all that behind the scenes work, which I would imagine Stokes would be doing for this.
So one of the things though we have to be careful of is Danny, we're gonna have to make sure whoever it is, work closely with Danny, whether the program can handle these auction items ending at different times and stuff. I imagine they can, but I don't know that we've asked the question.
Stokes is familiar with the program that we're using, and they felt it would work pretty well for what we're planning to do.
Let me, this may be a crazy idea, and I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but if you have an hour or a little more, a little less, whatever. I've seen this young man. He's from Sedro, Woolley, graduated from Sedro Woolley High School, and he travels all over the world. He's a magician. And I was thinking of the possibility that he would be there and we could advertise this as a magician show put on by a Sedro Woolley graduate, so on and so forth. I'm sure he's not very busy right now. I've talked to him. He's a really nice kid, probably graduated. Daryl, you probably know who he is. Brian Ledbetter. He could do, for example, a magic act, takes 2 minutes. Then you do the auction item 1, does another one, auction item 2. Just to get, it might be something to get, other than just get people to get online to bid. It's just something different, I thought.
Yeah, Rich, he just did that. United Way did an online fundraising event a couple Fridays ago, and he was on there. There's some other entertainers, guitar players, singers, things like that, but he was on there and did exactly what you're talking about.
How do you think? What do you think of it?
I thought it went fine. There were over 100 people that they were watching that. They raised over $50,000. That's pretty good for United Way. Yeah. And they were on there for an hour.
And Brian, some of his earliest performing was in front of our club when he was just in grade school. So that would be cool.
Great. Okay, I'm at the end of my list of things to do. I'll try to keep this meeting short. Are there things that we need to cover that we have not talked about yet?
Well, Tim, I was just gonna, go ahead, Phil.
Well, one thing I was thinking about, we did have a registration fee, and are we thinking about any kind of a registration fee or anything like that that could be donated to scholarships or donated to a project? Just a thought. I don't know, just ran through my mind.
Bill, let me ask you, let me respond to this because I brought it up at a meeting and I unfortunately I forgot to go talk to him. But what I was thinking of is if somebody paid a, say, $25 registration fee and we gave them a $50 gift certificate to Max Dale's, that might get them online. And I think Max Dale's would probably give us a really good deal on a gift certificate that we could then hand out to them. You know, I'm just thinking of something else that increases their business. The auction people, that if you're going to the auction to spend money, you're getting something. And it's costing you $25, but you're getting $50 back. I don't have any figures, but to start with, and that may encourage more people to get online with it.
Yeah.
Whether it works or not, I don't know. But
I'll call up Paul and talk to him about that. That's not a bad idea.
yeah, I've got a message into him, Tim.
Okay, great.
When you get
Hey, Tim, I was just going to throw out there, do you think that given all the ideas we're throwing about right now, do you think it's possible to get this pulled off by the end of July? Or is that a question for Stokes, how much time they really need?
I'll be talking to them and trying to find out what they recommend. Yeah, that's the funny thing about all of this. There are so darn many questions. And
so what about having this on the 25th of September?
Okay, it won't work parties very well, but we'll have to see about how we do that. We can look into it. I still think it would be better to shoot for that mid-July, end of July.
But Tim, the work parties we could do even separately.
And that's what
we could do a quick silent bidding during one of our online meetings. You know, people could submit blind auction or offers for work parties. The committee could take a look at them and decide how many we have, or we could have how many we have ahead of time. People who want them could submit, and we could give them a price range that we're looking at. We could do that before the thing.
Yeah, I'll have to get on that right away and try to find out, are we going to get Rotarians that volunteer to do that kind of thing? And then we kind of look into it. Well, let's keep with this idea mid-July, end of July for right now. We'll work with that. If things come up that say that just won't work, okay, well, we'll deal with it at the time. But at least we'll get going on it and see if we can't get it done as quick as possible. Anything else?
Tim, Mike, Rich, I don't know, whoever else wants to, or Carl probably, are you guys available like next Tuesday or Wednesday to have a meeting to talk about what we want to get accomplished next year as far as projects and things like that?
Yeah, I'm free.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm at home, stay at home, stay safe, or whatever this thing is, so I got plenty of time.
When do you want to do it, Mike?
I either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll have to look at the calendar. I'll send an email out tomorrow and let you guys know which date works. And then I believe I can use my wife's Zoom account and we'll just get it set up and I'll send it out. Shoot around 6 on one of those 2 nights.
Mike, I don't think you need a Zoom account if it's under 50 people or something.
I think that's true, Carl. We'll figure it out.
Real good. Okay.
Hey, Tim.
Mike, is that your thumb? Mike,
Tim?
Yeah, I got mine cut off yet, Dave, so I still got the whole thing.
Thank you.
I would like to suggest the last week of July, ending on the 31st, being the night of the Friday night of the auction.
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll set that for now and adjust it as necessary. Anything else? Okay, Travis, you're going to record this and put it on YouTube, is that right?
Already recorded, and yes, I'll upload it to YouTube.
Live.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. And that's the end of it as far as I'm concerned. And Travis, you can cut this off when everybody's done jabbering.
All right.
Over and out.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
If I know it's going to be on YouTube later.